I know zoning's really complicated. I want to boil it down to one essential idea. Zoning is the basic land use tool that the city has to regulate how land can be used and how large of a scale buildings can be constructed.
As for rezoning, just a quick note here. Many of our problems that we get, whether it be too much garbage or not enough parking, these all are born in overcrowding. And I really appreciate the job that city planning did in putting together a proposal. And the Woodhaven Residents Block Association fully supports this proposal 100%. You know, there was a debate 100 years ago about whether Jamaica Avenue should have an elevated train or a subway. The residents wanted a subway. They liked the open air. The community economic development people, the business leaders, they sold everybody on this idea of a lovely elevated train. And we have been stuck with that dinosaur, proud dinosaur, for a century. The decision you guys make tonight on rezoning, because it's been 50 years since the last rezoning, it's going to be another 50 before the next one. Kelly? Kelly, you in the room?
Yes.
Could you book the second Tuesday in 2062? The decision you guys make tonight is going to have lasting and profound implications on this community and on Richmond Hill. It's a difficult decision, and we trust you'll make the right one. Thank you.
That the Woodhaven Residents Association supports the rezoning plan, and I support their decision to accept their community. But for Richmond Hill, and I guess, you know, I don't know what our turnout is to community board meetings or whatever the case may be, but looking at the map, I support the R4A for the Richmond Hill area. I have seen, I'm only 22, I've seen a lot of houses knocked down in the area, and it's caused a lot of parking issues, a lot of issues with overcrowding in the area, and I don't want Richmond Hill or Woodhaven to be the next Jackson Heights. Our neighborhoods are totally different, and we shouldn't be having that.
On the issue of the Woodhaven Richmond Hill rezoning of Jamaica Avenue and Atlantic Avenue, I would urge the board to vote no at this time for several reasons. Number one, the zoning proposed for Atlantic Avenue and for Jamaica Avenue is more or less identical. And yet the character of the two streets is very, very different. One of the purposes listed on the City Planning Office's cover sheet, number one goal and objective is to reinforce the neighborhood character. By building 5-story buildings on Jamaica Avenue,
Crazy.
it's just going to increase the density, the parking problems, the traffic. It's just absurd. And I can only guess that the Department of City Planning is simply responding to a fiat from above to say, find some way to raise property values so we can collect more taxes.
Seeks to reinforce neighborhood character and establish building patterns with new lower density and contextual districts, direct new residential and mixed use development to the major corridors and locations near mass transit resources, and also support economic development along those two distinct corridors that I mentioned, and prevent commercial uses from intruding onto residential side streets. I'm not going to very quickly go over the recommendations for the Woodhaven portion of the rezoning area, and then move east to Richmond Hill. Two R3A districts are proposed on all or portions of 14 blocks, currently zoned R31. R3A districts allow 1 or 2 family detached buildings at a maximum FAR of 0.6. R3A districts have a minimum lot width requirement of 25 feet. So the R3A district will not only reflect the detached buildings on these 14 blocks, but also the narrower lots on these 14 blocks. On the blocks where R3A is recommended, 80% of the residential buildings are either 1 or 2 family and detached.
We would like to move for a vote, and the land use committee
Committee recommends supporting the rezoning change as proposed by City Planning.
Yes.
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 City Planning, please take a bow. Please take a bow. Wow.
Thank you all very much tonight.
Thank you. Wow, that was so cool. All right, we get out of here soon, we're here.